When it comes to nutrition, the notion that a calorie is convenient, but science increasingly shows that the source of those calories, what foods they come from, can profoundly shape metabolism, hormonal responses, and the gut microbiome. Pistachios provide a perfect case study in this concept. Even when matched calorie for calorie with carbohydrate-rich foods like toast, cereal, or crackers, pistachios can produce strikingly different effects on gut bacteria, blood sugar, satiety, and systemic inflammation. Their combination of unsaturated fats, fiber, protein, and polyphenol interacts with the microbiome in ways that refine metabolic outcomes far beyond what the calorie count alone would suggest. When individuals consume isocaloric diets, meaning the same total calories, but differ in macronutrient composition, the microbial and metabolic responses can be surprisingly divergent. Carbohydrate-heavy snacks are rapidly digested, spiking blood glucose and insulin, and often provide little fermentable fiber for the colon. The gut microbiome receives minimal prebiotic substrate, and harmful microbial metabolites may increase due to excess undigested sugars that feed opportunistic bacteria. By contrast, pistachios deliver fiber that is partially fermentable, along with polyphenol that beneficial bacteria transform into bioactive metabolites. These compounds encourage the growth of SCFA-producing bacteria, like bifidobacteria and lactobacilli, which in turn support gut barrier integrity, reduce low-grade inflammation, and enhance insulin sensitivity. Even though the caloric content is identical, the downstream metabolic and microbial effects are markedly different, showing that food quality shapes physiology in ways raw numbers cannot capture. Satiety and eating behavior are another dimension where pistachios excel. Protein, fat, and fiber slow gastric emptying, modulate gut-derived hormones such as GLP-1 and PYY, and reduce the drive to overeat at subsequent meals. Carbohydrate-centric snacks, even whole-grain versions, do not provide the same prolonged satiety and may lead to greater total energy intake over the day, undermining caloric matching in practice. The microbiome plays a central role here. The metabolites generated by pistachio fermentation communicate with the brain-gut axis, reinforcing appetite regulation and promoting stable energy balance. Over time, these small shifts in satiety and microbial signaling can produce meaningful improvements in glycemic control and lipid profiles. Scientific studies comparing fat and fiber-rich nuts with isocaloric carbohydrate foods demonstrate that pistachios can rewire the gut microbiome. Regular consumption increases microbial diversity, elevates SCFA production, and encourages bacteria involved in polyphenol metabolism. These functional changes have downstream effects: improved postprandial glucose responses, reduced circulating inflammatory markers, and enhanced lipid metabolism. Carbohydrate-matched controls rarely show these benefits, despite providing identical energy, underscoring that not all calories are metabolically equivalent. The interaction between nutrients and microbes transforms the calorie into a signaling event rather than just a unit of energy. Practical applications of this concept are encouraging. Incorporating a small, calorie-equivalent serving of pistachios in place of carbohydrate-rich snacks can support metabolic resilience, improve gut health, and help stabilize blood sugar, especially for individuals at risk for prediabetes or metabolic syndrome. Over weeks and months, these subtle microbiome-driven effects can compound, making pistachios not just a tasty snack, but a strategic dietary choice. Their versatility, enjoyed alone, sprinkled on yogurt, or added to salads, makes them easy to include consistently without disrupting overall caloric goals. Ultimately, the story of pistachios illustrates a fundamental principle of modern nutrition: calories are not created equal. The macronutrient composition, fiber content, and bioactive compounds of a food interact with our microbiome to influence systemic metabolism, hormonal signaling, and inflammation. By choosing foods that provide fat, fiber, and polyphenol rather than rapidly digestible carbohydrates, we can leverage these interactions to create healthier microbial ecosystems, improved glucose control, and greater satiety, all without increasing caloric intake. Pistachios exemplify how thoughtful food selection transforms the way our bodies respond to energy, turning simple calories into functional, metabolically active nutrients that support long-term health.